Welcome to the show.
What is going on?
Feels like it started just last week, and here we are.
It does.
We are already at the finale of Survivor season 42. It was exciting. There were ups, there were downs, there were highs, there were lows.
There was an
was
actual
us.
high.
Then there was
There
us
was
right in the middle. There was an actual
Guy named
high.
High.
And then there's us right in the middle. So here you go. So we will be recapping the finale of Survivor.
We did not discuss that, by the way, squad.
I had that on the draw. Really hoping that's like duty free or something that we won't get cut out. Welcome to the show, guys.
Welcome.
I'm so excited.
Happy to be here.
My pressing question is Camille and Dan still camping?
Yes.
Sure. We'll see. TBD.
Are the cats
We need
alive?
a Camille and Dan check-in. Are there 10 cats now?
Yeah. Have the
Maybe
cats
15.
multiplied?
Maybe there's a new litter.
All the highs. I'm going to try to get them all, guys. So here we go. Everyone who's been saying hi. Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. And Dub, I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
Hello.
The odd man out.
Let's see.
Does that
Hi,
mean-
all. Hi. I
mean,
know
the
I'm
gang
missing
is
some
here.
guys. I'm trying to get them all here. Everyone, Mocha Rain is here from
Rain.
Australia, and we have Ayeko. From China. This show is international, guys. We are doing
So
international.
international.
Look at there
I love
she
it.
is from China, and then we have Greg from as far away as the city next to our city. That's pretty amazing. Oh wait, what's this? Tess. Oh, bring it on, Tess. We're doing this.
Welcome.
She's
Welcome to the
crapping
club.
on your shirt. Do you see this?
Oh,
Yeah,
look at
they
who
love the
dressed up
shirt,
for the
Greg.
finale. Greg and Bailey did. Check it out.
Yeah, we did.
We didn't get the memo in our house.
Bailey did a
Yeah.
fast
Hold on.
change like
Wait
5
a
minutes
minute.
before.
Yeah.
There we go.
She was like, I don't think I have a tropical.
Yeah, it was.
It's tigers, guys. It's tigers.
I love it.
I love it. Excellent day.
Norma's here. Oh,
Mine has tigers too, but they're just hidden. You can't
Yeah.
see them. They're because they're in the
Are they
jungle.
crouching?
They're crouching tigers.
Natalie,
Zing!
good job.
welcome, guys. I'm excited to do this. It's amazing that it's kind of nice that the season goes fast because
Yeah.
I feel like it didn't leave us a dull moment, right? Like there was
Right.
always something
No.
exciting going on. I never, some shows I feel like there's that filler episode or two in the middle
Yeah.
and you're just kind of like, ugh. But this,
It's like it seems like minute by minute, like there's something going on at any given point, and I'm like, man, did I just miss something? Which is nice that there's 4 of us because there's always something that
probably
I'll
did.
miss for sure.
Yep.
For 100%.
I like
Yeah.
always miss something. No, they used to have the filler episodes. In fact, they used to have like a so far on, and then they would recap like the first 10
Unbelievable.
episodes. Yeah.
man,
I
who would
started
wanna
watching this
recap
series
Survivor?
about halfway through, like season 20-ish. And then I tried to watch season 1, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
this is so boring. It was like
Oh,
watching
really?
a documentary. So
Yeah, I
now
wanna
it'd
go
be
back.
interesting. Now that we're like ramped up to season 42 and that
Yeah.
pace, probably season 20 would feel like a documentary.
Right.
Well, it's funny. I remember when I was living in Vegas at the time when the first Survivor was coming out. And I remember like reality TV was brand new. And then they
Right.
announced they were going to make one of the first kind of game shows out of a reality TV and have these people survive on an island. And I was like fascinated with the idea. I was like, this is going to be incredible. And I watched it and I thought it was so interesting. It was so new for us. Little did we know that we were just about to start swirling down the toilet of reality TV.
Yeah.
Right. Welcome to
really the
Bravo.
pinnacle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love
Yeah,
it.
I remember when Bravo used to show operas and ballet. Hence
What?
the name
Really?
Bravo.
Oh,
That was why it was called Bravo, guys. It was the fine arts, and
No way.
it was the arts channel. Yeah, you would
Oh
like
my
see
God.
like
So you're
a
saying it's
Broadway
not the arts
show.
channel anymore?
slightly different,
Okay.
different.
different.
Now
art.
we have millionaire housewives flipping tables and screaming at each other in 5-star.
love it.
Bailey doesn't miss a moment of it.
And I love every second.
I love
I'm here
it. I
for
love
all
it.
of The Miamis, the New Jerseys. Yes, honey.
I love
Well,
it.
I say we have so much to cover.
There's so
let's
much.
Yes.
let's start
Yes.
going through this. So right off the bat, we start with probably our favorite thing, Jeff Probst talking to the camera.
Yep.
And he basically gives us a really quick synopsis of where we are, what we're about to do. We're at the end. One of the things I liked was they brought back the projecting onto a set that
Yeah.
they used for the
Yeah.
memories of the other people when they won that dinner and they got to see their family projected on like rocks and on pieces of like set. They had that going on, and you saw the three, actually at that time, the 5 final contenders, and just kind of moments from the show and stuff. And it was just kind of a neat moment. And I guess it's with Survivor now being like kind of hunkered into one spot, they can start to do a little bit more, things that take a little bit more time to build out because it's their set, or it's their space. They own it.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of that?
I love it. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that that's how they like communicated with their family too, in lieu
Yeah.
of like having them come visit. I thought
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Oh, super
Very cool.
Well, so it then jumps into camp right away. Omar at this point was just voted out, and everyone seems to be super happy. But
I wasn't.
but I don't know if you caught that right at the end of the last episode. Jeff goes, "And you're going to a new camp," and everyone's like, "Wait, what?"
Wait, what?
So they were
Yeah.
excited about getting Omar out. Their plan had come to fruition, but then they learned that they are going to a brand new beach that night at night.
Well, I
Yeah.
love, they show up with like literally no home, no shelter, or anything. And it almost looked like they had been broken up with, and the person kicked them
Yes.
out and threw their shit all over the trees.
Yes.
It threw up. Yeah.
Their clothes were just hanging on limbs, and they're like, I guess this is our camp spot because
Yeah.
all their stuff was just strewn about.
No shelter, no tarp. I think it was just a machete. That was it.
Yeah.
And people are like, cool. I guess we'll just lay in the sand.
Over.
And they're
Right.
like, this is our stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh.
It was
Yeah.
kind of wasted time though. They didn't really make much of it. It was just that scene, and then it was like off to the races. Where at the very end, like, don't do that
Yeah.
again,
Quick.
Survivor.
Like
Yeah.
there was something going on at every minute for the 2-hour episode.
Yeah.
It was wild.
So we need
Yeah.
to ask why they did that, because I
Yeah.
have no idea.
I wonder if
that
it was a
seems like
production
more-
reason. Like they
Yeah.
Yeah,
needed
it's
him in a
like a
different
slap in the
spot.
face. Like,
If they need them in a spot while they set up something or whatever, but
Yeah.
at least throw them the tarp. Like they're
Yeah.
literally on they're on their last fumes. It's the last 5 people. At least string the tarp up in case it rains.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
that's just
Yeah.
because we don't spend time at camp really. We never really spent time at camp. That's not what this episode was about. So
nope.
why change it? Why add some?
My
kind of-
one thing I would say, so this is night 23, so the next day will be day 24. They really only have a couple days left, so I'm like, they're just kind of like, what's another night or two? It was, I think it was
Yeah,
just
we're
one
used to
more
this hell.
thing. Like it seems like we're watching like longer days, like they're there for days. It's really just like that night and then the next morning, and it wasn't raining or anything, and I think it was just another thing.
That would have been
Like, just-
awful.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I was paying attention. They definitely all just slept on the sand, like on a palm leaf or something, which makes sense. But
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
what are you gonna
Yeah, and thanks to Norma for reminding us. Click the like button, everybody, please.
do? Thanks, Norma. Look out.
I'll leave this up as a reminder. Actually, I'll take it down when I see enough likes.
Yeah. When we get to 5,000 likes.
This will
Then
come
we will
down.
remove it. It'll be like
So yeah, I agree. It was like very short lived. It was Maryanne talking about like how she made this amazing play and how people like know who she is now, and she has a resume all of a sudden, and then it basically just goes to the immunity idol, right? Is that?
Oh, well, almost. One thing I'll add in here. So Lindsay.
Oh wait, tree mail, right? Or am I'm all over the place?
You're
There was-
fine. So Maryanne's elated that her play came
Yeah,
kind of came to fruition. Lindsay's saying, "Oh, I have to deal with the wrath of Jonathan now."
that's
he's-
right.
And then Romeo, this is the only thing I was going to add, lies and says he has a fake idol. And
Sorry.
this is off camera, by the way. This is not.
This is a confessional. Yes.
This is a confessional. And he holds up this little bracelet. He's like, look at what I made here. I have a fake idol. And then
Like,
he goes,
which is such a perfect like representation of his game. It's like he was playing a game by himself the entire time. And everyone was just like, that's cute. Like, go do it. Cool.
Yeah. Did anyone else just kind of like laugh and shake their head? Like I was like,
just like, what is he still doing here? Yeah.
Okay. It was like kind of like a gnat. Like, okay. Go away. Stop doing that. Stop. So then
I guess it was, and it was also then that Lindsay was like getting on Jonathan, right? About like why aren't you like with me? And then he's like, because you voted for me.
You voted for me. And I'm team
he's like
Lindsay
standing tall and like talking down.
Same.
And she is not having it.
Yeah, I think his attitude was really annoying during that conversation, at least the snippets we saw. But it was like, yeah, she voted for you. That's the game. But you also lied. So
they were both not in the right place. Like, let's just call spade a spade. Like, I'm like team Lindsay 100% all the way. But I was like, Lindsay, you literally voted for him. So like, who are you to talk?
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Yeah, it's all part of the game.
This was building for a few episodes, few days on that camp now of them, their friction, and they never really duked it out. And this was like their one opportunity, I guess.
Yeah. And then
then we go to Tree Mail and they get a message each with like a clue. And it basically says, if you can figure this out and then write it down, then you can go out and you can look for an advantage that will help you in the immunity idol. Or in the immunity challenge. So they're all like scrambling to do it themselves. And then Lindsay just blasts through it. She first undid the words and then you have to like unsort them into a sentence that makes sense. And then she goes looking. And then it's like at that point that everyone's like, we need to figure this out. Let's work together. But Maryanne does not want that. Maryanne wants to like buy time so that Lindsay can go find whatever this advantage is. And so she said she was just kind of sitting back, and it cuts to her just kind of like looking off and
pretending she doesn't know what the word is. They have one word left. They've banded together. So Lindsay takes off running to solve the puzzle and like find the advantage. And there's 3 of them remaining, 3 or 4.
Right.
And 4. Yes, 4. And they are all together trying to figure out this one last word. There's like 8 words total to the riddle. Yeah. And they can't get it. And Maryanne's like not even trying.
45 minutes.
Pretending to think about it. Yeah. Do you guys think you would have gotten it?
I feel like I would have. I love this kind of stuff.
Would I, or do you think Maryanne would have?
You guys.
Yes. Josh,
you're muted, honey.
Which means that you
sound like you're making really good points through the wall. Though.
I know sign language alphabet. We could do something.
No, you know what? I'm while you guys are chatting, I'm trying to restore a deleted iPhone note because I accidentally deleted all my Survivor notes from last night's episode.
Oh no!
As I can do it, so don't worry.
This is a new twist for our finale episode.
I 100% thought I could get, because I got most of the words looking over their shoulders.
Just looking at the thing.
It's those things that they put up online, like if you can read this, you're a genius, and the words are just out of order. I was like, how are people having this much trouble? But again, they're
45 minutes.
They're
that's true.
They're super malnourished.
Yeah,
and
they're out of it.
I mean,
they haven't deprived. They're
And even though, like, I mean, what am I trying to say? Path of elimination. What is that a phrase? Like process of elimination.
Yeah.
Just resorting all the words. You would think you would eventually get to the word sleeping. Sleeping was the word they couldn't get.
Yeah.
And even me, if I saw an I and an N and a G in a word scramble, I'd be like, okay, this is a verb.
Yeah. It's
and you know the 2 E's are probably going to go next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, Peelsing, you know what I mean?
This game is so easy when you're watching from your couch at home, guys. I mean,
it's so true.
No, but that really is like, that should have been, everyone should have been tearing off after, in my opinion, 5 minutes. They should have all, or less than 5 minutes. I mean,
100%.
But I do like that they have to solve it first and then write it down. That hasn't been done. And I really like that it like kind of keeps them in that spot. So they can't just go randomly search for it now.
Yeah.
They have to get the clue.
Yeah.
Which
Oh, I
is
didn't
cool.
realize that that's a new thing. Interesting.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that Lindsay like was looking at the base of all these trees because it said it was like, you know, below the toe of the giant.
Yeah, so the
And then
fortune, it said, by the way, guys, if you didn't watch the episode, it said the good fortune is tucked in the toes of the sleeping giant. So they're trying to figure out what the hell that means and where the clue could potentially be that could get them the clue for the immunity challenge the next day.
Right. And then the camera guy keeps being like, it's over here. And then
Keeps
it's like
getting
drawn
shown.
out and it's like, look, it's a foot. And there's this giant like rock structure that's
Yeah.
kind of out by the beach. And then
Even
they
though we watched
show
a whole
right where
season,
the
I don't have a
advantage is.
good gauge of how big this island is. Like, how
Well,
much
that
time does
and
it
they
take?
remember they just went to a new camp, so they could be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So that could be
Yeah.
actually that's probably why they put them in this location.
And Lindsay, it took her the rest of the whole time to find the advantage. But she finds the advantage, which is super exciting for her because she knows she is on the chopping block.
I was impressed that she thought the sleeping giant was a tree. Like she was like, "What? It's a tree," and she's looking under these
Yeah.
these huge
Yeah.
like this tree that's fallen over. The roots are sticking out. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
she's just so damn good. I love her so much. I'm like, how, you
Yeah.
can't, even if you don't like her, like you have to respect her. It's insane what she's doing on the show. She's killing
Yeah.
it.
She's
Yeah.
killing it. She really is.
Yeah.
So she
It's
finds
rare to
it.
see such a strong physical player that's a woman that's also well-rounded. Like she had a pretty good social game and she was good at like these, you know, word puzzles and everything.
Yeah. For sure. So she figured it out. She found it. She doesn't know what it is. She just knows that she has an advantage in the upcoming immunity challenge. And then that's when we cut to Jeff, right? And Jeff is like, how cool is this? And everyone's looking around just like, what are we getting into? And I thought it would be like the final one, but it was the second to the last, where it's like basically like a maze sort of situation. It's an out and back, and they can run out to these little stations, right? And then they get something. Natalie, you probably took better notes than me.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, there was multiple stations. There was
Like
5 stations, and then they run across a net to deliver. They're running to the station to pick up puzzle pieces, running back to their individual
Guys, I got this.
spots.
I got this.
He's
So-
going to demonstrate.
Okay, so there is a total.
Here we go. So what it was this is an overhead shot. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
the contestants are over here, and what it was is it's kind of shaped more like an eye. Okay, so almost exactly, and then off of it were these 5 different arms, if you will, almost like a peacock. If you're looking down at a peacock or looking at it from the front.
Yeah.
So you had a catwalk, if you will, that took you out and along the perimeter of those strands.
Like a baseball field.
Yeah. And so you could run out, run around, and then you chose which road in, which one of these strands, these 5 paths in. And each one was a challenge. One was a rope ladder. One was building a bridge with things. One you pulled yourself across in a basket, sort of thing. And the rule was you had to do each one once. And so there was potential that everyone was like doing one, and then they all ended up trafficked trying to get through one, for example. Luckily they didn't. Although I did see in a couple challenges, one was going and one was coming behind them. Because they were starting to run out of options, you know. But yeah, so that's what it was. And actually, Maryanne, when she arrived, she said, I was hoping it was a stations battle or a stations challenge.
That's right.
So they've done these kind of stations things before, maybe not on this particular platform, but they've done this variation. And so she was excited for the stations challenge. And that's what this was, the stations challenge. Because you had
And then to get the thing back, they had to untie a little satchel with their pieces in it. And each one had 5 or 6 knots on it. Was it 6? Except for Lindsay, who had 1 knot per bag. So that was her advantage.
Yeah. Which is a pretty solid advantage.
100%. I don't think we covered this yet, but not only do they win one of the last 2 remaining immunity challenges for the rest of the season and to guarantee them to get into the Final Four, but they also win pasta,
Oh, that's right.
garlic bread, meat sauce,
Yes.
cake, salad, red wine, and Maryanne griped at the red wine since she doesn't drink.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. This is why I'm drinking her portion.
That's
Right,
very
right.
nice of you.
Right. And the advantage did not really. I'm sure it helped her, but when you've got
Well,
Jonathan
It
who
did help her.
blows through knots, we've noticed that before. He just flies through anything that's knotted. So he was in the first station. He was the first one back.
I mean, yeah, she's going up against a man who's half ape, you know. So going through those different bridges and stuff were like nothing. It was like a swing through the park. But then and undoing the knots went fast. But she was going super fast, and she actually did end up ahead of everybody, including him, because of that 1 knot advantage. The only thing was she lost it because one of the bridges she was going across, where you basically take 2 planks and you're on one and then you put one in front, she dropped a plank, which meant you had to go back to the beginning. So she lost her whole advantage. Now, by the time she got there, she still wasn't one of the front runners, but then it was this massive puzzle to put together, which was, I mean, it was probably the most complicated puzzle they've had all season, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And it was really fragile. You couldn't you couldn't bump it. Like you're at risk of bumping this. So this challenge
instead of being like this, it was like this.
Yes.
And it was a disc that they had to put together. So also what happens is, and they were kind of facing this, like the wood starts to sink in on itself, the weight does. And so putting centerpieces in is hard because now
if you build the perimeter first.
Yes, if you build the perimeter
which is what they were
first.
doing.
Yeah.
Right. That was the easiest way to do it. Anyone who's done a puzzle knows that. But this one, and then it's wide enough, it's big enough that you need both arms, like your hands reach the center of it once it's built. So it was really tricky to get the center pieces fully in there without it falling.
Yeah.
It was a cool challenge.
I appreciate it. This is one of my favorite challenges. I think it just checked a lot of boxes for endurance, strength, agility, quickness, strategy, the puzzle. It was a lot involved.
Right. And who won the challenge ultimately, guys?
Mike.
Right?
Amazing.
And he did 21 years for this, is what he said.
I love that moment.
I really loved that moment for him too, because he beat people half his age practically, or literally.
His legs are bleeding. And he won on a puzzle challenge, which he didn't expect himself to do well on puzzle challenges. So you just never know like what your capacity is for things sometimes. He's probably sold himself short on puzzles. So I just really loved that he won this challenge.
I was a little bummed. I just love Lindsay so much, but I was like, you can't be mad at Mike winning this challenge. Like he was so emotional about it. He was so pumped.
So excited. He forgot that it was a prize challenge.
Right.
Just like, and you have dinner. And he's like, oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
You know what's cool too is he said that when he said I've been waiting 21 years for this, he said, yeah, I remember watching season 1 in the firehouse. Like he was working, and just imagine him and a bunch of firemen were probably watching Survivor, all talking shit about I do this and I could do it, blah blah blah. And then finally, 21 years later, he gets his chance, and there he is in the up at the final rounds, and he wins. Yeah, that was a
back
cool
when he
moment.
was 37 for context.
Oh, you did the math
in my head.
Wow, now I'm really impressed.
He did subtraction.
I did.
I thought it was I thought everyone, including Lindsay, was like happy for him. I mean, like he was so overjoyed, and he is a nice guy. That it's not like, oh, he's been the villain all season, I can't believe he won. It's like it's Mike, and he finally won.
And did you notice? And I think Jeff even called this out. Jonathan, or Lindsay did maybe. Jonathan was just like watching him at the end. He was just kind of like, well, I'm not going to win this. And he's just standing there, just taking it in. Like,
Mhm.
almost like a surreal, like meta version where he's just like meta, where he's just like, oh, I'm on Survivor. I might as well enjoy this moment and just like
Yeah.
take it in because
Yeah.
I am not going to win this challenge.
Yeah.
It's true.
I thought that was cool.
But he did win the the bro challenge because Mike got to pick one person to enjoy the pasta with. And who's Mike gonna pick other than Jonathan? I also think it was a classy move of Mike to ask Jeff if he could bring someone else.
And then Jeff's
You
like,
never
nope,
know these days.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wish
He's
Jeff
all,
was-
can I have another? Jeff's like, nope.
nope, not enough pasta.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you picked Jonathan. So,
Right.
that
So-
counts as 2 people.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
You
wondering
picked Romeo.
for Natalie and Greg, for a question for you two, since you've watched a lot of the past Survivors, but is it normal for them to ask those questions? Like they've done it twice now on the season, I think, or maybe 3
No.
times, where they're like,
No,
okay, so this is like a
it
new
was
thing.
not a thing before.
Got it.
It's
Right.
definitely like a new thing where they're just like, what about this? Or like, we were expecting this. Like, and I
Yeah.
think that's part of why they're throwing so many different twists into the game, is just to keep these Survivor fans. At one point on the episode, they were like, we've seen every episode of every season. So they have to do things like that to kind of keep them on their toes.
That's
So,
fair.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I mean, there was a couple times this episode that Jeff kind of referenced, like, this, but we've done it. We're changing it up, or like
Yeah.
and I think it's also like, because it's probably indicating to like older fans, like, hey, please keep coming back. Like, we're gonna keep throwing twists in. We get it. We know you guys kind of know the game by now. Like, so we'll break the system that you guys think is there.
Mhm.
So we get back to camp after the immunity challenge. So Mike just won, brings Jonathan to the reward challenge where they're eating this whole feast. I'll add one quick thing. Lindsay, before Jonathan and Mike joined them at camp again, Lindsay was pissed that Jonathan was kind of standing by watching. She was like, did you see him? He was just standing
That's
there
right.
watching. She was very upset because she was like, he just gave up. And reason 800, I love Lindsay. She's just such a competitive spirit. And I'm like, God, she's such a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
He was-
part of it too, though, was because I think you and I both had her as our second number one after our original people got booted, but she did say he had such arrogance, like basically saying he knew Mike would pick him. That pisses me off. He didn't try. He just sat there and let Mike do the work for him and knew he'd get to go. So,
And more importantly, he was that confident that Lindsay was going home, that she was going to be the vote. That Jonathan was like, I don't need the immunity idol because Lindsay's going home.
That's what he was thinking.
yeah, I just for the show of it, he should have tried, even if he built a quarter of the puzzle, everyone would go, it's okay. It's Jonathan. But he should have at least, when he just stopped and kind of just started looking after a while. I get that the guy's only got a piece or two left, but still put on the show of like, right, what if he did knock it down? There was a couple times
That's
also
true.
looked like it was about to get
That's
knocked
true.
down.
Which would have been devastating.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
was kind of hoping, because I love Lindsay so much. So I'll shut up
We
about
know.
Lindsay, but
We know.
I was like, so it also pans over. We're reminded that Mike has an immunity now, but also has an idol, and that he can use potentially for someone else or not at all. So,
But has to use it for this next vote.
but it had, thank you, yes, but it has to be used. So, he tells John when they're eating their meal, hey, Jonathan, I'll use my idol on you. So Mike tells Jonathan, I'll use my idol on you. Maryanne and Lindsay are also chatting, though, without Jonathan and Mike present, or Romeo. And they were also told that Mike had told them that he would be willing to give them their idols.
Yeah.
They're all like, wait, no, I was told that. So Maryanne and
And
Lindsay.
when Lindsay said that, I thought she was maybe lying. Like she was like just being like going along with what Maryanne was saying, just so then Maryanne would be like, wait, what? But no, he actually did tell her that. So that was a weird play on Mike's part.
Yeah.
But then I
guy
think it
who
was a language thing. I think at times he was saying like, well, if it gets down to it, I could play it for you instead of
Yeah.
I will play
Yeah.
it for you.
Yeah,
I feel
but
like
he
he was
told
using some
Jonathan,
loose
like,
language like that.
you have nothing to worry about. Look at me. Look at me. I'm not even going to swear on anything. You don't have to worry. And then
Yeah.
he did tell Maryanne, I will. If you make it and I make it, I'll play it for you. So it's like he didn't just say like, hey, if it works out to where I can play it for you, I'll play it for you. No, it was like,
there was some language where I was like, that's not solid. Like
Yeah.
it's
well,
kinda
he
like,
finally
like,
said to Lindsay, I haven't made up my mind yet.
yeah.
But he did.
But you know, when
make
you're a
some-
kid and you're like, I'll pay you 5 doll hairs for it.
Yeah.
Kind of like some of
No,
that
No,
loose
I,
language.
I didn't see any.
I saw one. I remember seeing it. I'm certain.
Yeah,
We'll go back
because
and
the
watch it
Maryanne
tonight.
one was rock solid, but the others did seem a little like.
And
he
the
could
Lindsay
wiggle
one
out
was
of it.
wish-washy because she burned him, and that's when he decided to change his mind on that. I know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Not to like,
Interesting.
I think too, it kind of shows some of Mike's behaviors where I think it's only really legitimate if he's like shaking their hand or something. Like he's like, gave you my word. And it's like, he's giving a lot of people his word, it seems. But like, what does that actually mean? Does it mean he's shaking your hand and like looking you in the eye? But like, not to get too far ahead, but like we see this kind of come back on him and bite him in the butt a bit later.
He
Right.
did play an emotional game, and I do think he was sincere in each conversation that he was going to look out for each person. But then he would take a step back and have those mornings where he's really thinking about his strategy, and then he would make the true decision that he would actually end up going on based on
He took a
strategy.
similar approach I took to dating.
Right.
You know.
Natalie, you're a lucky girl. You're a
I know. I know.
I
We're-
wish. I
We're
wish.
reminded that Maryanne has an idol too, kind of at the end before we
Yes.
go into tribal council. And we're like,
Who has been promised by Mike that he will give her an idol?
yeah,
And she hasn't told anyone about this somehow.
Yeah.
She shouts everything from the rooftops, and somehow she kept that a secret.
I kind of forgot about that. And I was really thinking about it. I'm like, oh, wait, I really don't think she's told a soul. And remember, not to
'Cause
go
she
back,
played
but
that one. She played the
stumbled
one
across
that
it.
everyone thought she played the one idol she had.
Yeah.
They didn't realize she found that one when it went back into play when
In the
when-
tree.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then it pans over to the first round of tribal councils for this finale.
Round 1.
Round 1. Ding, ding, ding. No?
Yeah.
I'll put a little more oomph into it next time.
I like it.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
Norma's doing a wimpy quote right here.
Oh, no.
Anybody else? Wimpy?
No, I don't get it.
Popeye.
Sorry.
I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. That's what we would always
Exactly.
say.
What is that from?
Popeye.
Oh, Popeye. Sorry. Sorry.
This guy?
Not
This guy,
Popeye the Sailor Man, not the fast food chain. It gets confusing when you're
God,
talking
I
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
God.
I was doing a wind up.
Too much. Too much.
So we cut to Jeff, right? We're at Tribal.
Yeah,
And-
where's my ball?
Jeff asks like about the riddle, and they kind of start talking about it, and this is when it comes to light that like Jonathan's like, Mr. Jeff, I can't think straight. Like, to ask me to like unmix words right now is impossible, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Probably not super possible when
He
he has eaten. So
One thing I appreciate when they go to the remaining tribal councils, because they're flashing over to the jury a couple times. You know, they're kind of, I like watching the reactions. Tori always has really good ones, and Hy
Yeah.
does. It's like, oh, but like
Yeah.
Jeff does kind of that.
Yeah.
And he kind of like makes them do this recap of the events that have occurred. So Jeff is asking questions like, hey, Lindsay, tell us about that advantage. Why don't you? Like, he's asking questions that like allow them the opportunity to share their badass things they're doing behind the scenes that maybe the jury isn't seeing.
Romeo's like, I did arts and crafts.
Yeah. Here. He has an anklet on.
Oh yeah, we forgot to say back at camp, he did to try and throw people off of voting for him,
Yes.
Romeo said, and just so you guys know, I have an idol and I'm going to play it tonight. So you guys better pick, just pick someone else or whatever.
So,
And he kind of threw it out there. And so my favorite part was after the voting when Jeff goes, does anybody have an idol to play? We saw Mike, first of all, go. He reaches out, he holds it up, and all three of them are like drooling, like, is it me?
Is it me? Is it me? Yeah.
And then he was like, Maryanne. And then they're like, oh, which kind of was the most noble move, right? Like that's,
yeah.
and I think we kind of expected that from Mike. He's been noble the whole time. But the funny part was then Romeo goes, well, I'm just going to toss this in the fire. It's the fake idol I made. And he tossed it in.
Right.
Or even like
And
to
everyone's
add
like,
a little more
okay.
detail there. So like Jeff asked, does anyone have any advantages that they like to play? Mike does the Maryanne saving thing. And then Romeo holds up his little anklet, his little arm bracelet that he made.
Yeah.
And he was like, Jeff, I just want you to know. And they pan over to the jury, and the jury's like, oh, there's more. And then it lasted all that of 3 seconds. And he was like, this isn't a real one. I lied and said I had an immunity and threw it into the fire.
Gosh.
We weren't voting for you, but you didn't
And
know
the
that
jury,
anyway.
yeah. The jury's like,
Unbelievable.
what? Like, we just
Okay.
lost so much. If we had any respect for you, it's
Hey, one of the things I
Such an
did think
eye roll.
about, because it seems like making a fake idol is something that happens semi-regularly somewhere.
Yeah.
Like a
Every
fake-
other
Yeah.
season.
What I would do is one of the times we all go to vote, I would tear off like a sliver of the paper that I'm voting on, put it away, do my vote, blah, blah. So that way I'm seen holding some paper and my fake idol, because they usually come with a letter. And I think that little thing, like having it together, if they catch you like holding the paper and that, it looks a little bit more authentic. So
I like it. You're smart.
if we end up on
I'm
the show
gonna-
together,
Always
nobody use it.
thinking.
I'm gonna wear underwear that has parts I can rip off of it, and that's gonna be my
Right.
fabric that I'm gonna like write notes on and things.
Just like
Mm.
a few sizes too big. Is that?
It's gonna be like the long all the way down to my knee, and
Okay.
then
Just
by
go
the end of the
full-
show, it'll be all the way up to like my pockets.
Just
That's
go full gangster and just have things just sewed into your shorts.
Exactly.
Like all these fake immunity idol, a scroll, yada yada.
Sounds itchy. Ooh.
Yeah.
Right, and they'll just think you have really weirdly shaped thighs.
Lots of
Why is
bulges.
he so lumpy?
Never
let's
ask
talk about
someone
that
why
later.
they're so lumpy. Okay.
Right.
We will get back to Greg's thighs.
Yeah.
Like how Greg's like, more on that later.
Later.
Yeah, yeah. So Mike
Um,
was saying they were talking strategy at this tribal of like they've gotten to a point now that they've down to 6, down to 5. Then that's when they really have to decide, who do I want to go to 3 with? And Mike is saying you want to find another good player that you trust, but that you also believe you can beat, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Which is
And
all
very true. And Maryanne was like, exactly. And then Maryanne made a statement. I didn't write down what she said, but she said, Drea remarked to Omar, they don't often show like jury discussions, but Drea told Omar she's playing for your vote by what Maryanne had said.
Yeah.
Oh, she kind of complimented Omar and said like Omar did what he had to do, kind of like he wasn't a bad guy. He was just playing the game. Don't worry, Omar. I think that was ethical, even though he was like the weaselessy weasel. And then
Right.
and then she was like, she's trying to get your vote. So
yeah.
Which is very telling.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then
So the
Lindsay
votes
is just
happen, right?
balls to the wall, going for, she knows she's out and she's just going for like any last morsel scrap she can get of like pulling at heartstrings or anything of why it should not be her. And then the votes. And
for some reason Romeo's idol didn't come into play.
Yeah.
His name was not written down.
right. Yeah, it
So
was
much
pretty
for
much a
that.
sweep. Only one vote
For
Jonathan.
Yeah.
And then 3 votes Lindsay.
Ugh.
Bye,
I was like,
Lindsay.
somehow hoping it wasn't true, like it wasn't gonna happen. And
Yeah.
then it did.
It could have not happened. Maryanne had an idol.
I know.
And she chose not to play it.
Right.
We'll
Right.
find out.
Right. Crazy.
So then you're thinking, oh, well, after a tribal, you go back to camp, right? Nope. Cuts right to the immunity.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Emotion.
it was, again, it was one of those where it was like morning time and just straight to like morning time, it felt like. And so we're not seeing this new camp. So again, why did they move these poor folks without a tarp? Like,
Yeah, I think it was
the
just
weather
for
was
foot
fine.
thing.
But
Yeah.
just in case it rained, rain comes quickly there. You know, we live in the Pacific Northwest. Rain turns on and off all day. We had a sunny morning and it rained like crazy this evening. But I just kept thinking about that. Like, well, what if it starts raining? And like their last couple days is just like, they're just
Awful.
like
Drenched.
in mud. Yeah. So, but fortunately they didn't. So they come huffing and puffing. These poor people are so tired and out of fuel. And the final challenge is up like on a mountaintop. Yeah, it's beautiful, but these poor people had to hike up there. And even Jeff remarks, because poor Maryanne was in the lead. He's like, I can hear you coming. And she's like, and it's like, yeah.
Everything she does is so loud, except have an immunity idol.
I'd say
Yeah,
it's
so true.
dramatic, but she's just authentically being herself. And like you gotta respect it because she's just being her.
She is a human vuvuzela.
Yeah. Ooh.
Human vuvuzela. Ridiculous.
5 people are about to guess that word. So
100%. How to spell vuvuzela.
Yeah, you had to spell it right.
This is a legendary challenge within Survivor. It's called the Sim Motion, named after something Sim. His name, the prop designer.
His name's Steve Motion, and they just shortened it to Smotion.
No, his name was
No. His name is.
I don't know why I took you seriously.
His name is something Sim or Sims or something. So they call it Sim Motion. He was a prop designer for the show, and in his free time kind of built this thing. And then they ended up incorporating it, and now it's kind of a staple of the show. And what it is it's essentially.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, if you have a tube of some sort.
Twirl it off. Twirl it off.
Yeah, so what it is, if you will, there's tracks that go around. It's basically you can put a ball into metal tracks and it goes around.
Like those big marble works you used to see at science museums.
Yeah.
Where it just keeps going and it's very lulling.
Down. And then about halfway down, it hits a junction, like a fork in the road, and there's a little thing that they can control that sends it either down this path and then this path. And then this
well, the
path.
ball hits it. So when the ball hits it, then it goes to the other side.
Okay, yeah.
And then the ball hits it and it goes to that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So
I like that you think that there's like a person there though, being like,
no, I thought it was just a metal. I thought it was like a triggered switch. So anyways, it goes one way, then the other.
I like the idea of a production guy. Just
anyways, so the ball goes down and then it goes out the other way. So there's 2 exits that come at the person, and they're a reach and a reach. They're not. You can't just stand in one spot and grab one or the other. You got to reach for it. So they put one ball in, and they go, okay, this is just to warm up and feel the timing of the track. So they do it, and this is like.
And one hand is tied to their.
Oh yeah, one hand is tied behind your back, so you can only use one hand. And this first, just putting the ball in, letting it go down, putting the ball in. This is like at the beginning of So You Want to Be a Millionaire, and they ask you like,
Is
purple.
Roger Rabbit.
Who was the
purple
first
is
president?
is the combination of these 2 colors, red and blue, black and white, yellow and pink.
Is that
you know
your
what I mean?
final
Like,
answer?
well, you're not supposed to get out at this point. You get out if the ball hits the ground. Mike, and you could tell it was just the dumbest mistake in the world. And again, it was one of those, probably wasn't thinking too clearly, tired, whatever, wasn't really looking. The ball hit his fingertips and fell to the ground. And he was out like within moments of the game starting. And you could tell he wanted to just kill himself, like he felt
Jeff.
And
Jeff
Jeff is just
wasn't like,
rubbing
"Sorry,
it
man."
in.
Yeah,
Jeff
yeah.
was like, "Can
There
you
are
believe
children.
that?"
There are
Yeah.
children out there who can do this, and it's like, okay, calm
Just
down.
taunting him.
Never
Yeah.
seen this before.
That was a $1
Never
million
seen this
mistake.
before. And he goes, "We're in the warm-up phase." And Mike's like, "Bro, I know."
I've seen someone in a coma do this 5 times, and
Yeah.
no, so
I did this with both hands tied to my waist.
Oh
So,
my
what
God.
I'm thinking during this part as like a wannabe player is if you're in this situation, you drop the ball and you just start counting and you figure out how long it takes the ball to go left, how long it takes the ball to go right, left, right. And you just keep that count and you don't listen to Jeff. You don't listen to anything else. You just try and figure out what the timing is from top to bottom. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's a rhythm. It's just a
because
rhythm thing.
what happens is this doesn't seem too hard. One ball, just keep doing it. He then announces you now have 15 seconds to incorporate another ball, and you get to choose the timing. Ideally, you're not dropping it in one after the other because one's going to come out over here, and then you've got to put it in the machine, and then you've got your hand available to go get it from over here and put it in the machine. So you almost want them happening opposites.
You never want your balls to drop at the same time.
Yeah, you want to be able to hold one ball and then the other. You never want to have to deal with both balls.
If they both, yeah. Trust me.
Mhm.
As a wannabe player.
Yeah. And you don't want to stick to your legs. So
Right.
Brother. So they have up to 6 balls. So Mike's out on the first. I think Maryanne is out on number 2.
one ball Mike, that's what they call him. One ball Mike.
And then it's down to Jonathan and Romeo. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. 2 balls each.
Did they
And
get to a third ball? I think they did, right?
They got to a 4th ball.
I don't think they got to a 4th ball.
Didn't they? All I know is I'm watching and Romeo seems to be dropping his balls way too fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
As
was
soon as
like,
it came in, he just dropped. There was no thought of like, I should pause, let this one take a little bit
which
more
like
time.
blew my mind.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm
blew your
like,
balls.
his balls blew my mind.
Just to be clear.
Balls are being blown either way.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, I guess it was only 3 balls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just too many.
Either way,
Uh-huh.
Romeo definitely is getting lucky, I think. That's my personal opinion. Like he happened to drop it in. I don't think there was any real strategy involved. I
And
think
maybe
he was,
being smaller is helpful. He doesn't have to lean over as
Well,
much.
yeah.
I don't know.
Romeo is the
He's-
bigger ball fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Fair.
true.
He handles balls.
He's
more than
attracted.
balls.
So
His
true.
hand just went to it.
That's true. But Jonathan's doing ape things. Like he's getting low to the ground all the time. So it's
And And
Yeah.
can we talk about the fact that Jonathan missed the ball and he went for it with his left hand, which was attached to his hip?
Look, guys.
He's such an athlete that like you're not usually like handicapped
Yeah.
like that.
right.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
fair.
he was just like, and then he's like, no, I can't touch. And then that was it.
I don't think I
Poor
caught that
Jonathan.
part. Good catch.
It was
Yep.
painful.
Romeo beat Jonathan's balls.
Oh,
Romeo won the challenge, guys. It
The
was
last
just a
Romeo
moment.
community
won.
challenge and
The
arguably the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because that
Yeah.
puts Romeo in the coveted driver's seat that everyone's been talking about.
And the final 3. He's safe. Unbelievable.
So
And he gets to
speaking
pick how
of
the game
arguably
goes.
one of the most important, I'm looking at the time, Bailey, and our friends need to know Bailey literally flew in from New York, was watching the show in an airport, on the plane, at like catching some
Over
of that
some
home-
guy's shoulder.
over some guy's shoulder. She couldn't pay
Like,
for
hey,
the
do you have
Wi-Fi.
Paramount? I need to like
Yeah.
look over your
Oh no, rewind that.
Bailey. And then she literally gets back from New York. Her husband is about to leave for the airport. So we have to let them see each other for at least one moment. And so
like
guess.
20 minutes
On
We just
camera.
want to hang for 20 minutes. So I'm sorry I have to bounce a little early, guys.
don't
but
worry, Bailey. We love
Yeah.
you.
I
Everyone
It's
loves
been a
you.
blast.
I
Enjoy.
miss you guys, but we'll see you soon. Love you. Bye.
Right, and we got it. We'll take care of the show from here, Billy. We're glad we got to see you though, and
Yeah, thanks for joining.
glad you're home safely.
Oh yes. Bye, loves.
Bye.
Yeah.
Say hi to your husband for us. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing I'll say about the
Alright, back to
immunity
the balls.
is Romeo winning and Jeff's reaction was like a classic backhanded compliment of like
I didn't see that. I
anyone
love it.
can win at any time.
Oh yeah, that was I love it.
Losers can win.
Yeah. He just was like really like I get the point he was trying to make, but it was coming off like kind of rude. Like after a while,
We know you shouldn't be here, Romeo, but this just
Yeah.
goes to show.
Yeah.
this just goes to show even the biggest losers in the world. I mean, the biggest loser we've ever had on this show can still win. It's amazing. He's a loser, but he won. And he's
You might
here
be
he
the
is.
scrawniest, smallest guy and the
Yeah.
biggest loser.
I didn't see that. I really thought Jonathan had it, but here's Romeo.
So you know what's funny too is Romeo looks like partially because he's wasting away. He started skinny
Oh,
and then
Yeah.
he's like a
guy.
skeleton now. But he looks really, really small. But then when Jeff went to put the necklace on him, to award him the immunity idol, I don't know if you noticed, Jeff's like the same size as Romeo, like exactly.
Really?
I didn't
Yeah.
see that.
Same height?
They were like
I'll go
the
back.
same height. They were the
Oh.
shoulder height were the same. The only thing was Jeff had a little bit more meat on his bones. Not that he's a
And
thick
longer
guy,
hair.
but he's been eating. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
as opposed to Romeo.
He's
So,
been eating.
but
giant
they were
fish.
literally the same size. So it's funny that I always think of Romeo as like this scrawny little pipsqueak of a guy, but it's like, oh, Jeff was literally the same size as him. I was like trying to figure out like how can I get a screen grab because I was going to bring this up on the show. He was
That's
not as
interesting.
tiny as I thought.
Yeah.
And he's also playing with Jonathan. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
It's
It's-
literally David and
it's
Goliath.
relative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, he has immunity, which means he will be in the final three.
This
And-
is his Miss America moment.
Yeah,
Which he calls it
everything-
that first, and then it changes. So
but yeah, he does stop saying Miss America. They probably told him you can't be saying Miss America. That's a copyright.
okay, fine, Miss Universe.
Yeah, but everything was about pageantry from there forward. Everything
Yeah.
he said was, "I feel like I've got the tiara, and I'm the prettiest girl, and I'm the most popular girl, and everybody wants to see me. I'm Miss Congeniality." I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, he definitely works in the pageant
Yeah.
business. This is
He
his
leaned
world.
heavy into his narrative
Yeah,
because he didn't have much game to talk about.
Right. Or
Yeah.
that many interviews throughout the season to use all these lines that I'm sure he had written on his boxers or something.
well, the funny thing is they don't know what they're using until afterwards. So the editors, they might have 50 hours of this guy doing pageant talk, and this is the
Oh, I
first
bet they
time
do.
they pulled it out for us.
I
You know
bet
what I
they
mean?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Um,
so true.
Yeah, so Natalie
Because
and
they
I
have
were
to shoot it
laughing
all.
because Natalie and I were just laughing, like he just kept using those references, which was just so funny. It's like most people change it up, like I'm doing a baseball reference, and maybe one time he does the pageant reference, and then the next time he does this, but no, all pageant
Mhm.
all the time.
All
That's all he
pageant.
knows.
Yeah.
And at camp, everyone was more than happy to congratulate him. They were just
Oh, yeah.
like, wow, nice job. You did set. Because wait a minute, he's selecting who's going to the final three.
Explain all this, Greg. Well, explain this and explain what's about to happen and stuff because you definitely have been keeping up on this show.
So yeah, like season 1, I think it got down to a final 2. Then at one point they started introducing the final 3. That was a twist for people. And then at one point, I believe there was like some sort of drawing rocks involved because they like tied. Like it used to be that they would vote. And over the last couple of seasons, they've basically said once you get to 4, the winner of the immunity challenge then selects the final 3, which is a moment for them to build on their resume. So you have one person in charge of 3 other people determining who's going with them. So who do you think you can beat? Who do you think you're going to sit next to that you can beat? And then who are you going to pair up to go make fire? And I love this because like my MO has always been in terms of like actually auditioning for the show, fire is the most important thing. And if you don't know how to make fire, you shouldn't be surviving. Don't go on the show if you don't know how to make fire. And I've told you guys, it bothers me when they do it wrong. So I love that they've like incorporated that as an element to say, Now you have to make fire. 2 people are fighting for their life, and one will win based on fire. So that's what they've incorporated in the last couple of
I
seasons.
love it too.
And I like it. I
Yeah,
think it's
I
very
100%
cool.
agree.
It's super dramatic. It sucks when it's raining. It sucks when it's like super windy. But when it's like a nice, good condition night and they're paired up to like do a fire, I think it's very cool.
And before we get any further, just a reminder, folks, hit the like button if you haven't yet. It's a super easy way to show us that you're having fun and that you appreciate it, us doing this. It helps the weird algorithms that are YouTube. But yeah. And by the way, I think the chatting that you guys do and the comments you leave also show engagement. And so YouTube.
And they are hilarious.
Yes. So you guys should be.
it.
You should be sharing your guys' comedy with the world. So yeah, thank you. Hit the like button. That's a good reminder, Annika. Thank you so much. Moderator extraordinaire.
Thank you for the whole season, Annika.
Yes, thank you. She was gonna get a special thank you at the end too, but there's a early one. Yeah, so this is amazing because it was funny. He was even joking, like sitting there, like, oh, maybe Maryanne can come over and fan me with a palm frond, and he was really playing it up because he knows he is in the driver's seat. And everyone, like you said, was only too willing to be, wow, Romeo, your hair looks so nice today.
Yeah.
Oh, Romeo, you look great in sand. Like
Unbelievable.
And then Mike is the first one to say, like, dude, we got to go talk. You mind? And then he pulls him aside. And I think he really ninja'd him here a little bit. Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah. It was a good move.
He basically said, listen, I know that you're sending me to make fire. I think he wanted to make fire. I think he was hoping that he'd go up against Maryanne. So he was trying to kind of interject that thought into Romeo. But ultimately, he was like confidently saying he'd go make fire. Because then I think he's, at least mentally prepared for it. He shows that he's confident, and like that's intimidating for everyone else that wants to go up against him. He's a firefighter, so he probably knows how. And he's ultimately trying to control the game that he has no control of at this point.
It was a Jedi mind trick for sure. Yep, and then he went off. Everyone's practicing fire. Like, if you're not practicing fire, you're an idiot. So everyone
Jonathan's like throwing fire on the thing. Like
Jonathan is
great,
like,
right?
He made like 5 fires in a row. He's like,
yeah.
And he was just kind of like casually doing while he chatted, like, yes, anyway.
Yeah. So
anyway, there's another one. He's coughing in a fire.
Meanwhile, Mike went off to make fire in secret by himself, which was a good move for strategy, but also for us at home to be like, well, is he good at fire or is he like freaking out right now? Like, I didn't know.
Kind of freaking out.
Yeah. And then the scenes they shot, great job production, because it's like it made it look like Jonathan just hits the flint and boom, fire. Like,
he has like gasoline.
And then Mike is like, and he's like really trying. It made it look like so outmatched. Like, Jonathan's got this, Mike's gonna struggle. So ultimately, Romeo chose Maryanne to go to the final with him. And now it's Mike and Jonathan, which was a really good matchup because they've set it up so well that Jonathan's so good at fire. Mike, we don't know, but those are the bros.
So let me just real quick. I just want to explain for the folks at home what making fire actually constitutes on the show. So each person is seated
on the toilet roll.
Each contestant is seated behind a large barrel. Okay. And the barrel, if you will, is a table. And on it are two poles.
Okay.
And then across the top of these poles is a piece of twine. If the twine is cut, or in this case, burned, it releases a weight that sends on one of the poles a flag up. And so by making fire, you need to cause a fire on your table that is going to burn a rope that is pretty high up.
Probably like, 18 inches high.
Yeah.
I was going to say
like
at
least 10. And then and then the flag goes up. So, um, I did that one for Greg's sake.
Thank you. No.
So
About 8 inches.
so they're seated at a table, and then next to them is a barrel with some coconut husk, which is
Limited amount,
which is very flammable. That's what you're going to start your fire with. Then there's basically like small sticks, medium
Tinder.
sticks, larger
Yep.
sticks, and it just and so they're like, there's all the materials, Godspeed. And you got a knife and magnesium and
flint.
and
that's how the fire starters are made. Is one side is all magnesium, the other side is flint. So then what you'll see is they're scraping off the magnesium, and if you've ever done it, it's almost like finer than sand. It's almost like pepper, and you want to put a lot of that pepper into the husk so that when it hits, it gets really hot, magnesium, when it burns, and then the sparks catch that, and then those are what catch the husk from the bottom. But fire also needs air, so that's why they're also blowing on it often to like try and incorporate all the elements of what fire needs.
And that husk really is super effective, but like you said,
Burns
there's
fast.
a very limited amount, and it burns super fast. So
Yeah.
it's like you've got to make hay while you've got jungle hay. So,
Jungle hay. We're not calling it husk anymore.
and
Jungle
so yeah, it was exciting to watch. They both immediately start going magnesium, and to me, Jonathan he had this, when he hits competition, he's a competitor, so there's like a calmness that sweeps over him. And same with like Lindsay, they both kind of like they hone in, like, okay, I'm on a mission. And he was super confident, like everything, his technique and everything. I thought, oh man, I love Mike, but this is the end, like Jonathan just seems so confident. But I think, and tell me what you think about this, I think he jumped the gun. He got a little too excited. He should have made a little bit more magnesium and instead went to the flint too early. I think that's what hurt him.
I'm all about taking time when it comes to fire, because they're always in a rush. I get it that they're in a competition to start a fire, but ultimately it comes down to the structure. And Jeff was talking about that. And you can't just throw a bunch of stuff on top of a burning, what do you call it? Jungle hay?
Jungle hay.
When your jungle hay is burning, you need to still keep air in it. So you want to build a structure up. A lot of times you'll do like a triangle teepee style thing, or in some cases you can do like a little log cabin is another technique. And I think that the setup really matters. So like if I was doing it, I'd be building out what I want my like fire structure to look like before I even did any of the magnesium. Then I'd do my husk over here on the side with the magnesium and the flint. I'd get that going, and then I'd introduce it to this little structure I built. So then that starts to burn, and then you can use that structure to take your tinder and kindling and everything that's bigger and start actually building things on top of it. And then ultimately, if you could just get one spire of fire going on like a big piece of tinder, then you could use that to like go right up to the string.
Well,
I would probably do exactly what Mike did.
Yeah.
And just keep feeding it.
Yeah.
But he was doing it in a way that like he at least was getting
and
shape.
the smart thing, what he was doing was, while he was introducing bigger and bigger pieces, he made sure he had the small thing going. And so then he started just putting on a bunch of stuff, and it was taking a little bit to ignite, but you knew once all that got hot enough, it ignited, it was going to have a significant fire. Yeah. And by the time it went, and finally, surprise, surprise, he's the winner here. By the time it leapt up and was like licking the string and burning it, his whole table was on fire. He'd put so much shit on that table.
Yeah.
So he
it
went
was a good fire.
He got to the point where it was quantity over quality. There was no beauty to it, or he didn't stack it up. He was just throwing stuff on. And I think that's the firefighter in him. Like he knows the fire equation.
Once he gets fire going,
and so he just knew, like, I just need to keep enough oxygen between these sticks, not pack them too tight, but he was just layering it on.
Sure.
And the funny thing was so he wins. They declare the winner. They're great job, blah, blah. Come sit back down. Come have a seat. Let's talk about it. And he even said, Jonathan, before you go, I want to talk. And the whole time that fire's still burning behind
Yeah.
them.
It's
And
an
it's
Yeah.
inferno.
raging. I mean, he's got so much on that table.
Production was not like blowing it out or anything.
No.
No.
Um,
And Jonathan's just kind of looking off at it like, man, what did I do
I
wrong?
did feel bad for Jonathan. I thought he might choke, and then he did. Just because they were kind of building it up, like, what's Mike gonna do? Jonathan's so good at fire. It just seemed like, is Jonathan gonna be okay?
Yeah, that was sad.
It was kind of a bummer because Jonathan had a long, cool journey in this whole season, and then to go up not
Longer
in
than any
flames.
other strong guy that I can remember.
Yeah.
Like, usually they're voted out. Like sometimes they don't even make the jury. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
well,
Yeah.
and Mike interestingly kind of fell into two camps. He was kind of a strong guy, but also kind of an old guy.
Yeah,
And those old guy is also a kiss of death on this show.
totally.
And so the fact that two strong guys, one of them being also an old guy, made it this far is awesome. Like it added, it wasn't as predictable as other seasons. And
No.
then Maryanne too,
Yeah.
like in Romeo, I think early on I thought both of them were just gonna get picked
Get him out
off.
of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Romeo did eke by in the way that we all thought he would, which is I'll
As
get
a
him
goat.
later. I'll get him later. I'll get him later. And then it's like, oh shit, later's here. I guess you're still here.
Yep.
Well, I'll beat him, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Guess what? He's gonna win immunity. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you imagine him
And-
making fire?
Just
No.
no. His
I
hands
just want
would
to take
start
a
on
moment.
fire.
We're at Tribal. We're talking, it's going to be Mike, Maryanne, and Romeo. Jonathan, we're having a chat with, but I just want to take a moment to appreciate on the jury. There was a really cool, color scheme going on. Drea had this flowing skirt. It was green with a yellow designed.
No
something.
flower in her hair though. I was really hoping for that.
And then Tori had the same green, and then Hai had a coordinating color. And I was like, wow, did production dress
Probably.
them? But I think they dressed themselves. And I was just, I don't know.
I feel like they get color
Props to
prompts
Drea.
though, because a lot of times
Yeah.
they'll show up and it'll be like the blue tribe happens to all be wearing blue. So I think there's some sort of prompt that they get. It's like bring a bunch of this,
no.
bring a bunch of this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's true.
Maryanne was talking about how she was packing at one point to be on the jury. And so she was picking out all these outfits and stuff for that. So I guess it's a thing,
Mhm.
even though they only get a couple seconds of screen
Maybe they
time.
get a stipend for clothes. Buy some
Oh,
nice
for
clothes,
sure.
guys.
bet.
Don't just wear things from
Don't
your
just
closet.
wear your firefighter t-shirt from Hoboken.
As far as
Don't
making
shop
a
at Old
television,
Navy.
although they might have him do it just because pride in the Hoboken and the fire department.
Oh,
but,
I know. No, I'm kidding. It was a joke.
But the
Hoboken firefighters, please don't take offense.
Old Navy,
Mike.
please still
Mike
sponsor
was
us.
my second. Mike was
compared
my
to
second
making-
pick to Zach.
compared to making other television, reality television is so inexpensive that they could give everybody a few $1,000s for wardrobe, and they would still be saving money making the show.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mhm.
I bet you they actually have a whole wardrobe team that does dress them for the jury rounds and stuff.
Oh yeah, because they're getting haircuts.
Probably a
and stuff. They're getting
coordinator.
cleaned up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because average people, most people don't know how to dress themselves truly, and
Oh
so
my goodness.
when you see people
What not to wear?
when you see people on television, there's
Got this at Old Navy.
shows you wouldn't
We
expect
love it. We
have-
love to see it.
shows you wouldn't expect to have makeup and wardrobe. It's crazy.
Yeah. So now we're down to the final three, guys. We did it. And then Jeff Probst's got to rub it into Romeo again. This just goes to show half of life is
Wait,
showing
one more
up.
thing. When Jonathan left, he continued on the streak of going out like a winner, having fun,
He did.
Yeah.
good mood. I appreciated that. You know what I mean? I've enjoyed the past few have left, and they're kind of it's celebratory, and
Yep.
Mhm.
it just reminds us it's a game, and they are having fun out there.
Yeah, he
And
said,
he
"I
got
love
the
you
honor
guys."
of saying the tribe is spoken,
Yeah.
which
Jeff
was
let him.
which is something Jeff, that is Jeff's discretion. If Jeff really likes somebody and they're going out, he lets them say that.
It's like Johnny Carson calling you over to to the death.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, this is something that I want to point out. End up, good question, but he had no time to change because they literally had him walk along the back and come back and sit down in the jury. So he, because they're going right then. She said, "Why did he go back?"
No. They have the night. Remember, they go back and then they have their
Did they?
their
No.
breakfast.
You're right.
Oh.
No,
Yeah,
you're
it's
right.
Mike.
Three.
Yeah, it's
you're right.
Mike.
All right.
So
Good
because
question. End up, he's
in
a
the
jungle boy.
past, yeah, that's just go on his Instagram. I'm telling you, go to my Instagram. I follow all the survivors. You can find them all super easy on there. I've tagged them in a bunch of stuff, and you'll see that like that is legitimately what he wears. He did a whole video about how he makes his own clothes by just going out and buying clothes and then like cutting off the neckline and all that kind of stuff. Like that is truly him, and dreads and all. Like, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
But anyway, so yeah, in seasons past, like long time ago, for you season oneers that are, loving that one, they used to do a thing where they'd like walk amongst the dead and they'd kind of honor every single person.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Now they've just cut that out. Yeah, there's like a trail and you'd see their torches with like a picture on it.
And they'd be like,
you know,
they were funny.
Yeah, and then you'd
so
have
sweet.
flashbacks and it was like a 4-hour episode. And then some they'd like burn
Really
the
boring
hut
episodes,
down and stuff. You remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, they go and burn down the camp. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a little much. Yeah, like
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is like a Viking goodbye. So then, so what they do now is that they just go, there's like, wake up, let's have brunch, celebrate, get them a little drunk, see if they can get them to talk, and then they really honor the 3 that made it. So
yeah, and they had a
I
nice
liked
little
it.
breakfast and
Yeah.
nothing too significant or anything there.
What was cool there was that they're eating breakfast and then it cuts to the jury members getting ready for their interviews. Did you notice that? And they're kind of like shuffling into place and you see each person and then it's like next person, and then they get interviewed and they break down what their thoughts on every single person are. And from those interviews, you can tell that they're like trying to get like some sort of like case for any reason to give Romeo a vote, right? Maryanne, they're like on board for, and then with Habok and Mike, they're like, we want to see him take ownership of his game. That's when they talked about that, right?
Yes, it was very interesting. I did like the shots of the jury sitting and like, it made it very like kind of.
It almost reminds me of like the Super Bowl when you hear like a breakdown ahead of time of the different teams and the different players and stuff like.
Yeah.
And now let's go to the field, after having this analysis done. And so, they gave each jury member a moment a few sentences about each person, which was nice because you did know going in like where her mind is about these people, where his mind is about these people.
My take on the jury, like my summary of the jury comments at that moment was Romeo lost cause.
Yep.
Maryanne, we like her, but what did she really do?
Yep.
And then Mike,
this is his
he
to
says
lose.
he has integrity, but he's burned how many of us? He better own up to that and say it was strategy.
He does,
it was kind of
High basically said that like I will vote for him if he's honest and says I was playing the game, but you can't be I was Mr. Honorable to the end because then it's like I can call you out 5 times on that, dude. Like so,
right?
With saying it,
do.
One more thing because we're about to talk about the end of the show here, but one of the things that Natalie and I were laughing at is anytime they had a challenge this show or whatever. This is day like 25, 26 are out there.
Yeah.
Anytime they won, they would like hug Jeff Probst, and every time I would go, okay, don't ever hug me again.
Yeah.
You stink. You guys stink so bad. Please don't hug me.
Yeah.
25, 26 days in the jungle.
You signed something saying you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you guys are not supposed to touch me. Please do not touch me.
Yeah.
And so you got like tall Jonathan, like just armpitting poor Jeff Probst on the shoulders, and it's like, oh God. It's like, I can't wash the scent off. Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'll just give him a fist bump.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, they were
Um,
having their breakfast. I like these. Wasn't Mike Roman sitting in a cornucopia of food, stuffing their faces, pig nose.
And the
Yeah.
food's all prepared. In some seasons, it's like, here's a carton of eggs and some raw bacon. Have at it. And they're like, yes. But it's so much better when it's like made for you.
Right.
Well, and especially
like
because
real life.
you just let them eat
Yeah.
and like enjoy the
Yeah.
moment. Like they're out there
Yeah.
they're burning half their food to a skillet. They have no butter or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
They
They just give them a
about 1/8 of
chicken.
the eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, that chicken has an egg in it.
Yeah. Slaughter, defeather, gut, de-poop this chicken,
Yeah.
and then
A
cook
chicken has an egg in it.
it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Wheat and a millstone. Like if you can grind
Good
it
luck.
down, you guys can
You
make
guys want to do
pancakes or
biscuits?
biscuits.
Cool.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you have a loaf of bread. I mean, you guys, sky's the limit here, guys.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
And there's
Wow.
the pig over there. There's your bacon.
Oh
Yeah.
my
And
god.
here's a pocket knife to go kill it. Good luck.
You're on Survivor still.
Yeah. Let's not forget
Yeah.
that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, here we go. Just real quick. This is important. Would Norma still want that hug from Jonathan?
Yes.
Day 26.
She
Norma.
most certainly would.
She would be waiting
She would
right just
prefer
off
it.
camera. Like,
Look at him. He's putting Norma over for that hug.
old lock knees.
Although she can't rush him too hard because his knees are locked, so he'll fall back. So she's
Yeah.
gotta be a little careful. So we're at the end here. The three of them are going into the final. I mean, to face the jury here. This ain't even a tribal. This is face the jury.
Yeah.
And I think that preview basically said what was about to happen, and that's kind of how the questioning went. Was, Maryanne, what did you actually do? Like, tell us your gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you did some moves here. Own up. And Romeo, say what you want. None of us are voting for you. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can sing a little song or maybe
Yeah.
tap dance,
Tap
any
dance.
kind of pageantry thing you want to
Yeah.
do. Twirl a baton.
You can bring another one of your idols, like whatever you want,
I'm
man.
a
Idol.
little
Yeah.
dandy.
Yeah.
I did appreciate Romeo trying to spin his gameplay. And
He
being someone who's I'm not going to say I'm introverted, but on the shy side and not always assertive in social situations, I did appreciate him talking about, I'm better one-on-one. I'm better
Yeah.
in small groups. I'm used
Totally.
to working one-on-one with a pageant person. What do they call those? Beauty contestant. And so
I don't know, what'd you call yourself when you were doing it?
appreciated the situation he found himself in of like, I'm on this big tribe. I'm not really connecting with anyone. Maybe he was feeling like, I don't know. In social situations, I've definitely been in situations where I'm at a party and I just can't figure out how to make an inroads. So I appreciate that. And then I also appreciate, I've been in situations where I've been paranoid and, a little schizophrenic and maybe acting emotionally.
Where Josh
And it
is
was
gonna like
interesting.
vote you out of the house.
Yes. Yes. Specifically in my relationship with Josh. No. You're on
You're
mute
muted.
again.
I just realized it. Now, there's no way she would get voted out. She has two people who would undoubtedly vote for Mama over Dad.
The tribe has already spoken.
Yeah, the tribe has already spoken.
She has unlimited immunity.
Katie can
Right.
barely say words, but
The only thing she can say is mama.
Mama.
Yeah.
she's like,
Are you voting her off? No.
yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate it. I also was thinking a lot about emotion and how emotion came into play this season. That was a big theme. Like Maryanne has been called out for being like an emotional player and an emotional person. And Mike too, like I asked him in the jury, facing the jury of like, did you play an emotionally charged game or did you play a strategic one? And he said, I did both. And Romeo obviously played an emotional game, but emotion is information, really. It's your brain is giving you information to use when you have an emotion. So you could just as easily say like I'm playing by instinct or gut. I'm going by my gut. And that's your emotion too. So I think it was interesting that the final 3 contestants were all emotional players and they made it to the final 3 despite, people use emotion as though it's a bad word in this game and in life a lot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're emotional, that's like a bad thing. But
Mhm.
I don't
here
think
we are.
these days, though. I think
You don't think so?
no. In this
I know what you mean,
world,
though. There's like a stigma to it.
there used
I
to
mean,
be.
I've
Now
been
there's a
I've been
stigma.
talking about how
Now there's-
Maryanne drives me nuts, but
Yeah,
I guess
but-
maybe that's not emotion. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
now there's a stigma if you don't show emotion in our current culture. Like it is we live in a much more emotional and emotion friendly time.
Do you think that's why we had the final 3 that were emotional players?
I do. I think that's cachet in this world. I think people appreciate vulnerability these days, or a show of vulnerability. That's just my excuse.
Aerosmith wrote a song about it.
Loving in elevators.
Yeah.
Living on
Sweet
the edge?
emotion. Sweet.
Oh.
We failed that test.
Don't
Yeah, it's okay.
close my eyes.
So yeah, you're right. It is how it played out with the kind of the previews. What did impress me is Maryanne's reactions and her delivery. And I mean, this is debate class. This is like high school debate class. And she appeared to be in one of those mock debates where she had all her information. She knew exactly how to answer things. And her responses were like spot on.
Yeah.
And-
she had a really
and
solid pitch.
Mostly emotionless. I mean, she spoke with compassion, but she didn't get like verklempt or anything, right?
Right. She did right.
She did have her moment when they asked her, like, show us like kind of the game you played, and she's like, well, actually, and I will say this was really well played on her part, but she was like, I put myself in a position where if he went, then I would be this, and if he came, then it would actually mean me, and if he, and so she did it, and in that moment, she was like, she had been planning to share this, so you could tell she was super excited to say it all.
Yes.
So she did get, that's the one time where she got, and she didn't spill over the edge like she normally does,
Right.
but she did get like right on the edge of like, and it was like, calm down, and then she like brought it back down. But that was the one time
Yeah.
she got really into for a moment.
And Mike, on the other hand, like he kind of just casually answered things, which I think would be like the hardest thing for me is to not like deliver at that moment. Like you really have to sell yourself. And that can be hard when you've deceived people, you've lied to people, you've done things. Like you have to own that. And that's really challenging to do.
Right. Yeah.
So that let me down.
I was actually surprised Mike wasn't a little bit more giving one of his rallying kind of speeches. He almost played it a little too cool. And I think that actually hurt him in the long run. Like
Totally.
he actually didn't sound convincing. Like he was trying to convince people. He was just like, I think the path he decided to go down was like, I'll just be honest. I'll just answer the questions and they will choose me in the end. And it was like, no, you got to throw a little emotion there and plead a little and sound like someone who wants it.
And show the game you played. Because just being an honest person doesn't win Survivor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then can we talk about the bomb that was dropped? Maryanne.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Pulling out her
The
idol.
only secret kept in season 42 was Maryanne had an idol. And the looks on their faces.
Everyone did give her props. They were like, oh, damn. Like, it was like, she did surprise everyone. And she said it with, like, I did it, you know?
And she talked about how she thought when she was back on her original tribe, whatever it was, how she thought she was just the life of the party and everyone loved her. But she realized that wasn't the case at one point and course corrected, which I thought was very aware of herself or self-aware.
Yeah.
Because
she showed a lot of growth.
Yeah. I feel like she was just kind of brought along. There was times when people just wanted her out because she was annoying, like Jonathan. And then her game really didn't like turn into anything. It was almost like a roll of film that had all these like random pictures and stuff, not really much of like a resume. But then on the 21st, she really got some good shots, like the 20 or 21st day. And then that's when she really like developed this like finale. And that ultimately, I think, is what helped her do what
Yeah.
we're about to talk about.
Yeah. I agree.
So they all went up and voted. Everybody went up and voted.
And
And
there were votes.
And I have a question for you guys or for NDub. Who voted for Daniel? Or Mike, sorry.
I was like, Daniel.
No one.
Are you still carrying a torch for him?
Did he
Greg?
not? He didn't make it. Who voted for Mike? He got one vote. Do we know?
Jonathan is my guess.
Okay.
I don't know if they show that, but
They did.
Cut out on my screen.
it was cutting in and
Oh.
out. So yeah, I noticed it where we live. Greg's on the same CBS as we have. We started getting these blackout moments for the rest of the
Yeah.
episode. Luckily, we got to see the winner and stuff, but as we started getting into the last part, which we're really not going to
Recap.
touch on much because it's the reunion where they're recapping, and so I don't want to recap
Mhm.
their recap, but fortunately it started at the end. We got to see what we needed, and then it just started. There was like
And-
5-minute periods where it would black out.
Yeah, I was like rewinding, fast forward. And I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
It looks like NDub said it was Jonathan, so I will take that as. Oh, my guess was Jonathan. Oh,
it
I-
was
really?
Jonathan according to Showbiz Sheet.
There you go.
Sheet.com.
okay. Yeah, because I don't Google anything Survivor because I'm
just
always like
Googled
ruining
that.
stuff. I have other people Google just like that, so thank you.
That's me. I'm the fact checker.
So that was the one person that voted for Mike, not Daniel, and then everyone else voted for
Yeah.
Maryanne.
I mean, the jury sitting there, she gave a great speech. She had a super surprising moment with the idol reveal. How could you not?
Yeah,
I mean,
I was one of those people like you, Greg, that I was kind of like, okay, enough, Maryanne. But
even me, I
It's-
picked her at the beginning, and
Yeah,
there
it's
was
true.
a middle point where it was like, I'm sick of her too. Yeah.
But in this jury's time, she played the best, and I probably would have voted for her too. As much as I
Same
like
here.
Mike, she at this it was like, nope, you earned it. Like you fought for it, you said it all. You earned it, and
Mhm.
so
Yep.
she earned it. And I thought Mike was really gracious too. He even said, "Look, I'm retired. I've made it to where I want in life. She's got her whole life ahead of her, and this money can do wonders for her.
I'm
really
I'm married. I'm
in a good
rich.
spot.
I'm rich in life. Like
He has
I'm
a
rich in life.
fiance. I
Yeah.
assumed he was married, but he said he had a fiance.
or fiance. Sorry.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
has kids though and stuff.
Yeah.
And so and I thought that was really great. And you couldn't feel bad for Maryanne winning. There's some shows where the winners, like Natalie and I watch Hell's Kitchen or whatever, and you're like, that idiot won or whatever. But on this
Yeah.
show, I was like, she earned it. She earned it. She
Even
did.
seasons of Survivor that I've been like, what? And it's such a letdown because the show announces the winner, the balloons drop, and then it's like, okay, season's done. And then,
Yeah.
whenever the reunion is
Yeah.
viewed. But it's such a letdown. Like, I watched this whole season to watch this idiot win. Yeah, it's frustrating. But I was
Now-
really glad Maryanne won.
I was too. And I know you don't want to talk about the recap of the recap because I think that's a good point, Josh. But I will say it's very cool that they immediately reveal because of COVID and then they talk candidly while they're there. It's fresh in their mind. They haven't had a chance to go back and like check in with their family or see social media or watch the whole season.
Yeah.
They are there raw and it is just like,
And
they're
what,
like
too?
scarfing pizza. I love it.
Normally
Yeah.
they film like Jeff pick up the box and go
Yeah.
walking into the jungle, and then they
And then he
cut.
gets on a helicopter and then like,
And then months later, they have him walking out of a jungle set into the studio.
Yeah.
But the I was never a fan of that either because for one, they look so different months later. So
Totally.
it feels like totally different people, and they're so over it, and they've come to terms with the fact they lost or whatever. A lot of them. when it's so fresh and so raw, it's like, nope, they're still in the game. And that's when you
Yeah.
want to talk to them and you do want to recap with them and go, what did you think of that and stuff? And some of those people are still pissed or still this. And it's
Well,
like,
and like Romeo, his like saying like, you know, I didn't win, but I did win at life. I came out on TV. My family's gonna see this. I won a challenge. Like he was at the top of his world. And
Mhm.
and I don't know that his like reaction would have been the same, or maybe it would have been like more polished and not as like genuine if it was months later. So I really appreciated what he was saying.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's
I
coming
agree.
for my spot? And yeah.
I thought it, you know
All
what,
right, all
Maryanne,
right.
she reminds me in a way of my
He did.
favorite Survivor winner, who I looked up because I couldn't remember her name, Sophie Clark. And I discovered she actually came back for Winner Take All season a couple seasons
Mhm.
ago. She won season 23, and she was like, it would be super easy to win Survivor. You just do your best at camp, work at camp, so you don't have that against you.
So you don't get voted off for being lazy.
For being lazy. Yeah.
Yep.
Do your best at challenges. They don't really matter. And then build an alliance of 5 with a secret alliance of 4 within it, like you already know. And then that's the template. The reason Maryanne reminds me is because she was annoying, but then she course corrected. She did her best at challenges, wasn't the greatest, but she was always trying. And then
And she even said that in the last challenge, like, don't give up. Like,
yeah.
anyone
She
can do
told
this.
Romeo, like, I'm not going to make it. And she was like, don't give up. Yeah. And then this new era of Survivor where there's so many twists and turns, you can't do the simple template that Sophie had of like, just build an alliance and then this and that. That's why they added all these twists.
Or
There's
just pick
all
that
these
apart.
advantages and twists and turns. And so Maryanne really came to shine at when it was down to 6, down to 5, because you can't really scheme and maneuver much earlier or you're going to have a target on your back. I mean, Omar was so schemy. It was amazing. But then he got picked out because the target was on his back. So I feel like Maryanne played a like Sophie-esque game, even though they're totally different personalities.
Pull up what Kate said. It is awkward for the 2 losers. Sorry. The chat gets distracting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
true.
It's
It
true.
is awkward, but let's see it. This is what we're paying for. This is the
Yeah.
television. Like I want to see
Mike
it.
was super gracious, and you could not tell. Like, does he ever get angry? I guess we
Oh,
saw
yeah.
him angry when someone voted against him with high and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
So it was a good show. It was a great season. It ended well. I wish our service was a little better there at the end. I don't know what the hell was happening, but great season, and I think it ended in a satisfactory way. I think that's something that we all kind of have come to conclusion on. But it's time for our final jury.
Gosh.
And so normally at the end of our show, everyone, including those in the chat, including all of us, will choose somebody who you are voting out. But this week, because this is the final episode, you are voting for who you think should win our Survivor. And it is either it's one of us on screen, it's someone in the chat. I think if you do, I want to see you guys in the chat put down who you're voting for to win, and you
Can't
have
vote for
to
yourself.
you can't vote for yourself, and you have to give some reason why you're voting for this person. There is no idol, guys, on this one. We normally have an idol. Well, the last few episodes we introduced the game where you find an idol. This one, we're not doing it because we're not voting someone off. So you got to who it is that you think should win our season 42 of Survivor recap. And you have to give your reasons. We'll tell our reasons here on the air. I'll read.
I have appreciated everyone's idle guesses, though.
Yeah, the idle guesses have been great and really good. They're probably far more clever than we would have actually come up with. So, okay. So I've got mine. Does everyone have theirs?
Got it.
Okay. So I want to see some votes in the chat. Who would you guys vote for as your winner of this season of
Sole survivor
Oh,
of
yeah,
Soul
go.
Survivor?
this YouTube series.
So here we go.
That was on my
Solid.
mind in my decision-making process.
Yeah, we should have talked about what we're gonna want to hear from each person. That was for end up. She comes back and
Make
she-
a case.
Oh, these are some good reasons. Okay, because it sure does me
So-
and he's the Survivor guy with the underwear pockets thing. So what? Jess is going to your underwear for this one, Greg. I wrote for end up. She brought it every week. Josh, because it's his show.
Too easy.
Too easy, Kate. Too easy.
Behind every great man, there's an even greater woman.
Yeah.
So true.
And then behind her is the man again. So these are some great votes. How dare you, Tess? How dare you?
Oh, that's like an unvote.
Them's fighting words. She put a vote against me. I don't even know if it's possible, but I think it just happened.
Oh boy, that negates one of the other votes. Yeah.
Let's see here. One more coming from the chat. For having all the deeds, great social media game. Yeah, that's pretty good. Greg, we're gonna go to you first. Let me put you in the spotlight here.
Oh my gosh, this is a hot seat. So, to their point, I considered Erin for that very reason. She actually got a video from Jeff. I think I'm a little jealous. Maybe that's my reason for not voting for her. Norma was here every week, didn't even watch the show half the time, but still brought fire. And then Rebecca was also one that, like, I could tell I could probably go on Survivor with, and we could, have an alliance. But my vote, and came through every single episode, definitely goes to End-Up for knowing all the facts, taking notes probably better than we did, and making sure that we did our best. So thank you everyone for watching, but End-Up, you get my vote.
All right, End-Up's gotten a lot of votes. I feel like it's kind of down to End-Up and Erin right now is what we're seeing a lot of.
I'm seeing that, yeah.
Honey, who are you voting
Greg
for?
is vomiting with emotion.
This is
voting with emotions, not voting.
This person gets my vote because they always made really good points that I agreed with. We've been in an alliance for a long time together now. And then she clinched it with getting Jeff Probst to answer her question on Twitter. Erin D.
The coolest thing, and gave us credit, was calling us out. That was so
promoted
cool.
our little show. Thank you, Erin.
Yep. Well, this one, I don't think this was hard to pick. I couldn't vote for myself, so but strong social game it is one of the people in the tribe that is just too likable, had good alliances with everybody, and most importantly, was a shining star even to Jeff Probst. And so Erin
Got it.
And so I'm gonna say with our votes and with all the votes, I'm gonna say Erin won this season of Idol. But you know what? I love that our finalists were all people that if any of them won, I think everyone would have been happy with.
Totally.
Yes.
But
So, Erin, you need to contact CBS for your $1 million because
yeah,
we don't handle that part of it.
yeah, it's a whole thing with bank accounts and routing numbers. But you won $1 million, Erin.
You won $1
From
million.
CBS.
Yeah. Don't
And-
reference this show.
Yeah, please do not reference the show when you ask for it. No, but Erin is our survivor. Erin is amazing. Erin, everyone loves you, Erin. End-Up, you were awesome. It was so close. Erin got it.
And Annika is the one that keeps this fire going.
Yes.
Literally making
And you
that
know
fire
what?
happen.
Yeah, Annika is kind of our Probst here. I gotta put up Annika. Yeah, thank you so much, Annika, for being our moderator extraordinaire.
Keeping
and-
us in line.
Oh, thank you, Norma. Aaron, great. Yes, Annika's saying congrats.
First time
Aaron.
watching Survivor, and what?
That's awesome.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine if
What
she
a
had like,
knack.
just like one other season under her belt and was able to like even bring more facts?
I
Oh my
love it.
gosh.
That's the one thing I wanted out of the show is to get new people onto Survivor. I think
love
made
it.
a diehard fan.
Yeah, that's all we wanted
Seriously.
was nude people into Survivor.
She invented a challenge that already existed. She's like
That's true.
gonna be Survivor extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, Aaron. Yeah, Tess, just like Norma, half the time Tess didn't even watch them at all. Norma watched some, but
Here for the
yeah.
fun.
So now
I
I know who voted for Romeo in our poll, unlike
Yeah.
the people who didn't watch.
I feel really honored that we have friends that don't even watch the show that just came to hang with the chat room and hang with us. You guys, this is awesome. And thanks so much. This has been a fun thing for us to do. I get to do it with my wife. I got to do it with a great friend of mine. This was awesome. And my other great friend, Bailey, who had to leave early, but love Bailey. And
Yeah, she was a good addition.
I get to work with Bailey every day, and I was working with Greg every day, and then he moved to a different part of the company. But
The
so yeah,
closet.
he's custodial now, but the bathrooms have never looked shinier.
Thank you.
And
Quick as a
I think
toothbrush.
the breath mint on top of the urinal, nice touch. Not necessary at all, but nice touch.
I think it's weird that you eat it without hands, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Training for survivors. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for a fun show. Do you guys want to say anything before we go?
The question was brought up, what are we recapping next? I don't know, but I'm open.
When's
Stand
the next
by.
season?
Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Greg, what's shout out your social stuff?
It's all Gregory the Greg. Don't forget all the E's. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, he's on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm on Twitter at CJoshGo. Also, a big shout out to Up and Adam, who got myself and Down with Jason doing shows. You guys can see us every Tuesday nights at Down with Jason. And
It's a fun show.
it's called Anchor Watch. We cover Below Deck. There's going to be some announcement there. The show's going to be moving a little, so stand by. Not very far and not a different night, so don't worry. But yeah, and we have some exciting stuff coming up. Follow us there. Follow us on Twitter. You'll hear more. We might even put like a little trailer on this channel for what we're doing next, but we'll figure it out and we will let you guys know. And thank you so much. We will be back. We are not going to break up the band, Aaron.
Just like Aerosmith.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's on my mind.
A lot of Aerosmith tonight.
I think it's Steven Tyler.
Well, on that note, thank you so much, everyone. We love you guys. Have a great night.
Thanks,
And
everyone.
Thanks for joining us for Survivor season 42.
We did it.
We
We
did
did
it.
it.
I loved it. I loved every second.